Hello everyone, so we continue this series where I show you what to do, or at least what I do, to alter cards and to make sure that your cards are the nicest, or at least they work and they can be gifted, or you can sell them if you want. And this is my process. I've been doing arts for many years now, but I took a really big break when I started a year and a half ago to start altering cards, and I've been back full time doing those. And again, I found there was a lack of information, like more in depth. A lot of us artists, they will show you the process to do a card. I just want to show you my process, what works for me, and some mistakes that you might encounter, and maybe I can save you some time, or just keep your company a little bit, maybe, as we are doing this together. So to recap quickly the first video, I'm just showing you need any playing card. In this case, I'm working on a Magic the Gathering card, and as I mentioned, there are some specs and information that if you like you can keep, like name, the stats, the type of card. This is something that is recurring for any other kinds of cards, like Pokemon. You have Final Fantasy, One Piece, Naruto, it's coming up. Any type of cards that you have that there are playable cards, you can do those. Of course, it's up to you if you want to cover completely the art, or if you want to preserve some of the information, because that's useful if you're planning to do tournaments, so places where you play with other people and maybe there is a prize, or you just go and maybe play in your local store. Sometimes it's nice to have the information showing. Maybe you can remove the information on the text box here, because sometimes you can just browse online quickly if you don't remember, because there are so many cards and rules. But general advice will be to keep some of those. What I like to do is to keep the main information, like the name, the little icons that they will explain which kind of card is this, and the stats like strength or constitution and so on. You can, also you wanna be careful if there is this like holographic part on the cards, if there's some kind of icon that it's different from the rest of the card, because that means usually that you can prove that the card it's an original card, it's not a proxy. Proxies are all type of cards that they are printed at home, or they are not originally sold from the company that makes the card. So this is a nice thing to keep, especially if your card gets more on the expensive side. What I didn't show you in the previous video, it's what I do to make sure that whatever I put on the card stays nice and put, and that is let me see if I can show you. Sorry guys, I don't have the best setup. So this is a matte opaque spray varnish, and it's an acrylic base, and you can get these in your hardware store. You can get this pretty much everywhere, I think, and it's not too expensive. And what I like to do, I hope I can show you. So you want to keep a nice distance, kind of arm length, and make sure that you give it a good shake. The more you shake, the best. I don't want to make too much noise, but I've really shaked this before. And what I like to do is to go and do this. Don't spray directly in the card. Don't stay too close. A nice distance that will provide you an even spray and coating. And we go. Okay, you don't need too much. This is just to prevent that the paint you're gonna put on top, it's gonna work in a way that is not gonna cover properly, because there's nothing to grip on, because these cards, they have more kind of not a plasticky feeling, but of course because of the printer settings they use, The card, of course, needs to be a little bit more sturdy because there is a lot of, usage of fingers, and you have something that it's kind of going for the test of time. But with the coating, with the matte varnish, you giving a good primer that will help to your paint, whatever you're putting on top, to grip and stay put, because otherwise the paint is gonna move around when you start creating your piece. So for this Gigatoad card, the first thing I had in mind, it's from a popular, while the card is drying. I have this Final Fantasy booster pack, I think, and I just opened it and then I found this card, and I found this to be perfect to show you. And because there is already a frog and the name is Gigatoad, the first thing I thought was one of the frogs from the Naruto anime and manga. Is it something that I've grew up when I was a child, and yes, I'm quite old now, and then again I thought, okay, that sounds great to start with, and I want to show you. So you get like online and you get your nice picture reference, and for that you can use anything you like, from Pinterest to just a simple Google search. You go ahead and find the picture that you want to deal with, that it's like a good quality picture, so if you need you can zoom in. And then after you get a picture, there's two things you can actually do. And at the moment I just place I just start to draw on top of the card. I don't do carbon print or something for now. And this is the second step I'm going to do, is to draw directly on the card. But first, as I was showing you in the previous video, we need to put some kind of base, as whatever we have here, if we start to paint directly, it's not gonna work properly. So whenever you feel like you wanna place colors, you need some kind of base. Sometimes can be a white base, and that is perfect if you want to do more like anime, manga style things, because sometimes you just need like a blank base, so the colors are nice and bright and vivid. But not necessarily, you can go also for a completely gray base, or you can go for a really light coat of white. But sometimes you wanna play and get more very saturated but dark colors, and you can cover this completely in black. But I'll just give me a moment, I will show you. For this one we will go with a white base. I'm gonna switch back and forth because I've got so much stuff around me, guys. It's so messy, but I hope you can see. So what I like to do is to get a little drop of my white, and the nicest the whites that you get, the better results. I always recommend to go with titanium white. Sorry, this is the one I showed you in the previous video. But any acrylic will work. And you can also use gouache to do this. It's not a problem, you can use gouache. You have just to make sure that if you use gouache, because gouache, it will reactivate with water, you need to spray again after you've done your base. You want to spray again, and after that, of course, let it dry nicely. You can go ahead and apply other techniques. It can be acrylics or more gouache, or pencils, colored pencils, ink, whatever you feel like you want to use, because 90% of the artists out there that they do cards, altar cards, they might use acrylic, but not necessarily. There is a lot of techniques you can experiment with, but the thing is you need a nice base. I've placed my color, my base color here, because usually you will use almost everything. That you don't need too much, but you wanna have a little drop of color and you don't need a wet palette or something that will keep these like wet, because we're going to use this anyway very quickly. And one important thing is, like, I like to use a pot of water. Of course you wanna use this. It's a little bit milky because I've been using white, so it's okay to keep it like that. But when it comes to mixing color, of course I prefer to use distilled water. So any water that you use for your car, or you use for, you know, that you can get out of the air conditioning. But anyway, just for demonstration. So again, the consistency here, especially for the base, it's very important. You wanna get, of course, make sure that everything is clean. As I'll show you in the previous video, I don't want to go for the cleaning part, guys, because of course for anything you do, it's nice to have a clean base, a clean workstation, and you don't have too much debris or something that you don't want to mix with your paint, or that you don't want to end up on your card. So be clean in this case, it's very important. As well, your hands should be clean. And I use a hand sanitizer spray or gel. If you don't want to like wash your hands, it's okay. But if you want to wash your hands, go ahead. Just something that it's nice to have. Also because I will get my hands dirty as I work. But that's me, I think. But should be something for everyone actually. So you see, I just started to kind of get this white, and there is a little bit more that I need to spread, because I can still, sometimes the colors, they won't melt completely, so you kind of have to keep pushing and working so everything it's like completely melted. And because this is getting too thick, and I don't know if you can see, I'm sorry, it's like the brightest sun at the moment. I'm going to grab my distilled water. So I like to keep these small bottles around my workstation. I just got like empties of products that I used, and I think it's nice to have also because when you spritz, I got too close to the card, so don't do this. Try to get your colors away from the card. So we're just gonna move it. This is already dry, by the way. The spray, it's very quick. You don't have to wait hours when it comes to start working on the card, but you want to make sure that it's dry. So give it at least 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes if you can. And if it's warm, of course, you can wait less time because it dries very fast. So I just spritz some water here, and you can see the consistency. It's getting more, like I was saying, like more melted butter, kind of. For the primer, for the base, any color that you picked, it's completely fine. If you want to do white, if you want to do gray, if you want to do black for your project. But the consistency of the base, it's very, very important. It's more important than what you're going to do next, because you want to have the right coverage. You want to make sure that the paint, it's also very, very melted, because you don't want to have any texture on the card. So I decided by first glance that I want to cover this area, so the art that it's already here. I don't need the name of the creature because we're gonna do a frog anyway. And this text, I want to keep this text for now, and of course I will keep the stats. So what I'm going to do, I will reach and extend the card, and for that I always start from the center, and I will just start spreading. You see, because we've put the acrylic matte spray, it's so nice, and you can see there is a lot of coverage already. And I hope you can see I'm doing light swipes. I'm not going too hard on the card, but one thing I want to make sure is that I don't have any edges from the paint. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I want to spread this as evenly as possible, and it's okay if you cannot do this right from the first time. Guys, this is not about perfection. I'm not about perfection. First thing first needs to be fun or relaxing or whatever you feel like it's good. That feels good in a way. I mean, not all the things will feel good, but you know, you're doing something that at least should provide you some, you know, relaxation or fun moments. And again, when you kind of have an idea of what you want to do, it's easier just to, you know, make sure that at least the base, it's correct, it's done in the most correct way as possible. And again, I don't need these parts here, so I like to keep the name. Let me see if I can get this closer. I think I can, yes. So the name I like to keep, and these two icons as well. So with the smaller part of the brush, so you see I've tilted this. So now I was doing flat like that, and now I'm just gonna use one corner. Again, I don't wanna be precise. I don't care about being precise now. I just wanna lay my color down, and there we go. And I'm pretty much satisfied. Of course, you want to reach the edge, but as I mentioned in the previous video, please make sure that around your card there is no water, there's no alcohol, there's nothing that it's going to drench or wet the paper, because that's gonna be game over. The card will warp or will lift. The first layer and the end layer, they will kind of rise from the edges, and that will ruin. I can show you in another video anyway, and that it's not good because you have again texture, and the card it's not gonna be more you know, you will see there is like damage, and that we don't want. Also because there is a risk of peeling the card, and you don't want that. I mean, the card should be as nice as when you get it the first time. And as I mentioned also in the previous video, you want to work on cards that they are most likely near mint condition or mint condition. If there's any missing parts of like, you know, around the black edges, maybe you have some white specks, it's okay, because maybe the paint, the print has got, you know, you know, the card maybe it's old and it's not perfect. It's like some parts are actually not the greatest, but it's okay because you will cover that up. But if the card has got like indentation or there is big scratches and you can feel texture on the card, that you don't want, because it's going to show. The beautiful thing that I didn't know when I first started is that the smoother you can get your work to be, the better it's gonna look. And also it's easier for people to sleeve the card, because one thing that we don't usually, you know, think of is like these cards at the end of the day, for the players that they're going for tournaments or they're playing in their stores or at home, whatever, you have a card that you really like or you want to play, you will put it in the sleeve. And if there is texture or if the card feels weird, when you sleeve the card up, it's not, you will have troubles doing so. So you give up, like, it's not a pleasant experience, and also there is chances that you will ruin the card trying to push it because it's not fitting in the sleeve, or, you know, it's too textured and it grips on the part that it's, you know, in contact and with the sleeve, and then that's, you know, you don't want that. And anyway, I will show you. So I'm pretty happy with my base. You see, it's far from perfect. We don't care. But the most important thing, and I don't know if you can see, you should be able to see that it's not completely white, but it's nice and flat, because we worked our way and we removed any big lumps or, we want this to be as smooth. If you need, because there's still a lot of of the card showing up, and you might want to cover a little bit more, just wait for this base to dry, and then you can apply a little bit more. See, because we got a lot of distilled water here, the product is still very, very liquidy. And this is good, because with acrylics the problem is that they will dry. You use them, they will dry as you use them, if they're not on top of a wet palette or something that like keeps the humidity of the paint. And in this case, because this is just the cardboard, it will dry eventually, and you want to make sure that you're working with something that has still got the right consistency. If you see that the paint is start to dry too much, you have to reapply the water and mix nicely again and go for it. Now I feel like I want to do a second coat, but only in the areas I feel like I'm going to place my design, and I want to make sure that the base it's even, because also my colors, they will be easier to apply and they will be more bright and vibrant, and we like that. Here we go. So I don't have to go all the way. I think of the design of the card, and I think that I need this clear base, nice coating, so everything grips on, it works nicely, and my colors will be vibrant. So usually then I remove the excess paint that I maybe not going to use, and that's fine. But in this case, we just carry on. But again, I take my pot of clean water, or at least it's the water that I've used for just the white color. You can have multiple pots, by the way. I mean, as long as the water it's kind of, it's not been staying for a week in the open, and there is like flies inside. I mean, just change your water as much as you can. But then again, when it comes to mixing colors, please use either fresh tap water or distilled water. And I will probably need this white later, so I will spritz again some, trying to not get to the card. And we wait this, and we wait this to be dry, bone dry. If you are very impatient, of course you can use your hair dryer or a hot tool, the ones that you can use for the shrinkings, or if you want to shrink some of those plastic tubes, maybe to put around electric cables. I mean, but the hair dryer, I think it's one thing that almost everyone's got at home. So if you really wanted to speed up things, you can use the hair dryer, but again, use it at the same distance I've shown you for the spray. You don't want to get too close with your hair dryer, but again, maybe I will show you in another video. I want to show you my reference picture. There you go. So Gigatoad will have this Naruto theme, and as I wait for the paint to dry, I'm going to grab my pencil and my rubber gum and come back. Eraser. Sorry, not rubber gum. Eraser. Sorry. I know you can tell English is not my first language, and I used to live in London, but then again, it's been so long I haven't speak English, like many years. Even when I was working in a tourist environment, I was always saying the same stuff, and I got so annoyed, and I lost some of my virtues about speaking English. So sorry if I make grammar mistakes, or I hope this is clear so far. I'm trying my best because I really want you guys to get into the process, because it feels very daunting, but I think it's nice when you can get access to the right information that also it's taking its pace, because sometimes I've been seeing tutorials that are like, man, you are going too fast, I don't know what's going on. But this is like, I think it's nice, and maybe I also keep you company. I don't know. Of course, we carry on now. And one thing I want to make sure is that the card is dry, and I don't want to place my finger on top, just in case if it's not dry and I just go one, you will leave your fingerprint. You don't want that. But one easy thing to do is just, again, you move into the light and see when it's opaque. When it comes to acrylic paint and gouache, it should be nice. You should be able to tell. In this case, there is a little bit, maybe you'll be able to see, just around this area you can still see maybe it's a little bit wet. And I'm not going to go now, because whatever I will do now, if the paint underneath it's not completely dry, I will smudge, I will create indentation, I will leave texture with my fingers. That's okay. As this dries, you can, once you've got your reference picture, like in this case, grab the colors that you feel like they are more ideal for the work you want to do. And we can do a color breakdown. So in this case, because it's a nice picture from the Naruto anime, there is a little bit of cell shading. Cell shading is basically what they use to do animation. So you have a big amount of a main color, and then you have maybe some deeper colors that will enhance some kind of 2D effect. And we have the main color, which is this brownish, slightly warm brown, and then we have this very like terracotta color, but it's on the warm red side. We've got this dark gray with something that it's a darker gray, but feels like it's also not warm. It's like more neutral, and maybe it's getting more cooler. Then we will go on maybe another video about color theory, but just follow me up for a moment. Then we've got like nice brighter orange. We got a little bit of yellow, and we got some white. In this case, the background, it's very neutral, so we've got like a gray and white that it's slightly warmer. Of course, you will see difference in my camera from whatever I have here, so just keep this in mind. But the idea is that you see the picture that you take reference from, and you want to break down the colors that you need, and you can see if those colors for you are available in a pencil, gouache, acrylic, oils, whatever you use. Now I'm sure that the paint is dry. We go back here. There we go. I have no idea how to get a nice setup that's is gonna allow me to draw. I have this little stand that I use. I think it's nice, and I hope you can see. But one important thing when you're doing anything that it's art related, or it's gonna cause hyperfocus, because I have ADHD and a little bit of autism. I tend to hyperfocus. So if you do that as well, no worries, but just grab something to drink, because we forget to drink water. Hydration, it's very, very important, because sometimes you just get so into whatever you're doing and you forget to eat, you forget to drink. No. We are big adults here. We want to keep ourselves hydrated. Okay, so moving on. I have my picture, and yeah, you may be wondering how we're gonna transfer this. That's okay. So it's nice to have this case. It's like more of a square shape, and here we have like a lovely rectangular shape, but it's not an issue. what I like to do in this case, because I'm lucky that the picture I like, it's basically with the front face. So ideally I want to assume that the half of the card it's here. So I'm just gonna place a nice straight line, and I'm working on an oval shape. So the expression and the face of this toad, it's what I really wanna make stand out. So I'm going to make sure that my oval, it's nice and centered and it shows. I don't want to cut anything, but I don't want to make this even bigger, because I think it's not gonna be the greatest look. And I prefer to have more room for example, we've seen the picture before, we've got our shoulders, and ideally we have our shoulders, which also they are showing a little bit of the, I think it's wearing a kimono. Oh, one important thing that you want to keep in mind, please, when you're using your pencil is going to be probably one of the things you're going to use the most to trace, to draw, and you want to make sure that you're using not a mechanical pencil, just a regular simple pencil, even the cheapest that you have, but the type of lead, the graphite needs to be on the soft side. So this is an HB. It's not the softest, but it's not a technical drawing pencil or a mechanical pencil, because those have too much of a sharp edge. You will ruin the card. So please make sure that you choose a very soft pencil. If you're not sure, just kind of feel it on the tip of your finger and see, because if you feel too much of a scratchiness, you know that's not the right pencil. You don't want to ruin your nice base, you don't want to create indentation, and that's gonna make your work, you've been spending already a lot of time and you don't want to waste it, basically. So be gentle with your sketching, and of course make sure you get a nice from HB, 1B, 2B, 3B, 4B. I think that it's the best range. After that, it's too soft and you will lose the graphite, and if you just smudge it by mistake with your finger, you're gonna make a mess. So from HB to 4B pencils, they're great and you're ready to go. Sorry, I forgot to mention that before. And again, okay, so I'm happy with the placement of the main elements, and I see that the toad here has got some very big brows and I like to trace those. You see, I'm very loosely sketching. I don't care, I don't want this to be great or perfect, the greatest art ever. I don't care. This is now just all about proportion, and I enjoy the fact that I have some room here that helps me to put the little frog on top, and I just got the perfect amount of space. Again, you are not looking for perfection. Always look back at your reference, and once you're happy with the volumes that you created, and of course if you use carbon paper, you can just use your iPad, or you can just print your picture. You will use your pencil to trace, and then you can use the whatever you've got as a design, and you use your carbon paper on top. And it's much easier when you use carbon paper. But then again, you have to deal with the painting part, so it's easier in the beginning. But anyway, it's a daunting task. But I still like to sketch loosely. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty much happy. When this is like, okay, I got my volumes right, I like to go with more in depth. and I just place more details. I'm gonna start with the eyes. I'm sorry because this is like moving too much. Let me see if I can. Okay. So this is like the part where you're going to take some time to create the design. Oh, you see, I went a little bit too intense and I just scratched the card. So when that happens, it's still okay. There's not too much texture going on here. You will cover this with the paint that you're gonna put after, but you know, just so you know, it happens. You don't have to worry too much. But if you're going too hard, that will leave indentation. That you don't want that. And again, I'm gonna have my mouth, so I will get my mouth. And then again, I will add some details. And then again, I will, oh my God, I'm scratching my life. Anyway. My main elements are almost done. And then I know I've got the tattoos, the kimono, folds, whatever we've got on a picture. And again, you just take your time. This is supposed to be fun for the most part. If you see that you're getting frustrated, the design, it's not, you know, you're not happy with your design, just take a break, go for a walk your dog, speak with a friend, whatever you want to do, take a bath, listen to music, dance in your bathroom, whatever you like to do, really. It's just that sometimes we are so focused on the fact that we want everything to be perfect at the beginning. We don't want that. We want to enjoy life. Okay. So, again, far from perfect. We don't care. But I know now that the card has got the elements that I want. I'm just going to freehand this now. And this is, I'm pretty satisfied for this now. I hope I showed you a little bit of my process. Of course, we placed now the main design that we took from this picture. And you see, I also created some base here too. And I don't have the rest of the picture to actually match. But we don't care. We know that the toad is wearing a kimono. And it's a big thing, so whatever I'm going to do, it's eventually just create a little bit more of that kimono, but it's mainly going to fade to black. I'll see you next time.